Hi, I'm Noelle Randall, real estate entrepreneur, millionaire, and mom of 5. And in today's interview style episode, I am going to be talking to a retired real estate entrepreneur who has made a ton of money and is living her best life. I'm going to introduce you to 𝗡𝗖𝗄𝗏. 𝗡𝗖𝗄𝗏 was my former business partner. She still kind of is one of my best friends and an absolutely amazing real estate entrepreneur and trainer of real estate. She has lived an amazing life in real estate. She's done almost everything there is to do in real estate. 𝗡𝗖𝗄𝗏 is now retired. She's in her 40s and she lives in beautiful Costa Rica. Join me as I share with you her amazing story and get all of your questions answered on how you can retire with real estate in your early 40s. Let's go.
Noelle. Yeah, she can fix that. If you gotta get it done, no, you need to do it better. Well, she can fix that. Yeah, she can fix that. Investment to get back, trying to get a big stack. She can fix that. Let's fix that.
All right, welcome. I am actually so excited to have you here, 𝗡𝗖𝗄𝗏, my friend, my business partner, my long distance buddy who has decided to stop flipping houses and go to Costa Rica. We are going to get right into it in this interview, and you're going to tell people basically what you used to do before you moved to sunny Costa Rica. So tell us about the real estate investor, 𝗡𝗖𝗄𝗏.
Well, first of all, thank you, Noelle, for having me. I appreciate the invite. A little bit about me. Of course, I am 𝗡𝗖𝗄𝗏, and Noelle and I have been knowing each other for quite some time, and we have done business together in real estate. I started my journey in real estate in 2003. And at that time, I was more of a silent partner, I would say. I was had started dating this guy, and he was into real estate, and didn't know anything about the investing side of things. And I saw the money that he was making. So I was like, okay, well, I have some money. So, why not invest?
Yeah, right. No, keep going.
How to invest in real estate. And he was doing basically fixing and flipping. And he was a developer. So from there, fast forward to 2005. I had acquired some properties on my own, and I had some rental properties with some other investors. And then, of course, you fast forward to 2008, 9 time frame, and everything, the bottom fell out of real estate, and, basically lost everything,
I can relate. That's where we connected.
Never expected that at all. It happened. I don't think the world was ready for that. But then you fast forward, to 2000, about 10 or 11, and the market kind of adjusts a little bit. And if you had capital at that time, which I did have some capital at that time, I was able to kind of pick up the pieces and start back investing. And what I did in 2015, I actually got my license and became a licensed agent in the state of Texas, which actually my reasoning for getting my license was to save me money. If you are a licensed agent, it actually saves you money on the buying side. Like if you're buying something off the MLS, you get the commissions from that. And then of course, if you're selling, it saves you on the selling side, when like after you fix the property up, put your money in, it actually saves you the commission. And actually even more so if you are the agent who does, in Texas, they have dual agency. So you can do both sides of the transaction. So you can actually represent the buyer and the seller. And of course, if I'm the seller, that saved me money. Of course, if I was
if you're the buyer, you're saving money as well.
Having my license, being a licensed agent in terms of real estate investing. And ultimately, what I was doing was a bunch of fix and flips. And for anyone who knows anything about fix and flips, you know that there are a lot of ups and downs. And I mean, for the most part, I can really say that it was profitable. I didn't have a lot of problems. But I remember Noelle had a group of students that came to visit me and see my properties. We did a tour. And we went and saw 3 properties. One property I was actually acquiring. We were looking at, it was a real old ran down property, but it was like in the best neighborhood, like the best, like a very sought after neighborhood. And then I had another property that we had flipped, got for a little nothing. That wasn't in the best neighborhood, but it was still profitable. And then I had one that was like in the perfect neighborhood that actually you would have thought it would have sold right away, but we ran into problems and it took over a year to sell that perfect property. So with all of that said, it's like fixing and flipping has its ups and downs. There's no perfect scenario. Although it may, seem like it's perfect, it's no perfect scenario. And I actually got to a place where I said I was done. Like literally said, you know what? I'm done with this. Like, it has to be something else, and initially I was kind of seeking something else to do. And it was like, why? My children are all adults. They're self-sufficient. They're raising, I only have one granddaughter, they're raising their families, they're living their lives. And I'm still young. I'm 47. I'll be 48 next month. So I'm like, why not retire? Why not retire and move to a place that I can really, truly enjoy life? And I don't have to work if I don't want to work. I can, I have things set up where I can have income, but I didn't have to work. So I came to Costa Rica. Actually, let me go back.
So, okay, before we get into that, because you touched on so many things that I'm sorry, my audience needs to hear this because you've said so many amazing things. And I really want people to know, what our lives was like, because you have an amazing life now. And I don't want to skip over, all of the money that you made flipping houses and what we went through so that you can now live this life, because it is an incredible story. So let's talk just a couple of the flip stories, because people really need to know like how you flip houses, how the process works, and how it really works as a business, where if you get to the point where you are now, you can cash out and decide to just live off of some of your residuals. But let's go back and talk about the fixing and the flipping. Tell us about that. Talk about how you did it differently, what you kind of did with some of your flips. Because you were really good. We were really good, but you were really good with your license. And I want people to know this.
Actually, I'm going to tell a real quick, funny story.
Yes.
Me and Noelle can laugh about it, but at the time, it wasn't funny. I literally felt like I was being held hostage, but we survived. But we had gone to, Noelle knows, that I wasn't really interested in going to any workshops or seminars or anything like that. For one, I had been to so many different ones, and they give you just a little bit, maybe 10%, and that may be stretching it.
Yes, a little bit of info is all they give you.
In investing. And so they hold you hostage at these events for hours and hours and hours, and they're giving you a little bit of information, but never really giving you the truth. And what I can appreciate about Noelle is she actually gives you the truth. We lived this stuff like it was our lives. And so Noelle invited me to this event. It was a 3-day event on top of that. 3 days out of my life, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So Noelle and I, we drive down to Austin, Texas. I'm gonna tell this story, Noelle.
You go tell it, girl, because it's the truth. The truth is the truth.
It's a very interesting story. So Noelle and I drive down to Austin for this event, this 3-day event. So we get there, not really knowing, we knew that it had to do with real estate investing, and it was a VIP event.
Yes.
I'm not gonna mention any names or anything like that, but it was a VIP event, and we get there and we're at this hotel, this really nice hotel. We're sitting there and they're going over information, and then they take a break, and then they load us up on this bus or van. It was a Sprinter, a Mercedes Sprinter van, and they took us around to look at properties, and then they brought us back. That was day 1. Day 2, they have us to go meet them. This was what did it for me. They had us to go meet them at another hotel, but we only were to leave our cars there and get on these vans again. And then they took us to this property where we were then, in my version of it, was held hostage because we could not leave. We could not leave, no matter if we were interested if we lost interest, if it didn't matter. We were stuck there.
Yes, we were.
And I'm looking at Noelle like, do you really have me here? Is this what we're doing? Like, this was not what I had anticipated. And of course, we're sitting there and going back to when we were on the initial tour, the owner of this particular investment group, he and I had conversations, and he spent a lot of time talking to me. I guess he spent a lot of time talking to me because he knew that I knew what he knew.
Right.
And with that being said, he knew that I didn't need him. And we were there that weekend with a group of other people, probably I would say beginner investors, because
definitely
otherwise
beginners.
They would have known that they didn't need him either, because the information that he was giving out was
just nothing.
Really just information
nothing
that you can find anywhere. It was nothing. Oh, did y'all hear that?
What was that?
Those are monkeys.
Oh, the little
those are howler monkeys.
Yes.
I was hoping
love
that they
Costa
would,
Rica.
kind of be quiet during the interviewing process, but this is my real life in Costa Rica.
Yes,
but
I love it.
Back to the story.
Yes.
So as we're sitting there and he's going through the different information and what have you, then they get to the end and they're selling you his program. And the minimum cost of this program was $25,000.
True story.
For nothing, like
nothing. Just no
none
information.
of the information that he gave out was even worth $25,000. But within his disclosure, he said that he would be, because there were some different levels. So the $25,000 level was the bottom level. And then he had a $35,000 level, which was the next level up, which gave you access to like maybe some other investors within his group. And then there was the one-on-one level. I'm going to use air quotes again, the one-on-one $50,000 investment level, where you're supposed to have one-on-one sessions with him. But within his statement, he states that he only checks his mail once a day.
Correct.
And so he gave you the option to fax him. And this was like in 2012. No, 20.
Right, like
this had to be like in
2017.
2017.
Yeah, it was like
2017,
17. Yeah, it was like 2017,
somewhere around that
2016, 2017. Right,
and he said that you
fax.
could contact him through fax.
Yeah, via fax.
Fax. Like you could fax him if you had questions or anything. And I was done. Like, I could not believe you're going to pay somebody $50,000 and you have to fax him in 2000 and anything for a response.
Okay, this is another amazing point that I really want to get into. One of the things that will make you successful in real estate, especially as an entrepreneur, is learn, do, teach. Both 𝗡𝗎𝗃a and myself, Noelle, Randall, we learned a lot in real estate, and then we started doing it, and then we started teaching it. And so that is why we were so successful as a real estate trainer, as a mentor, because we really had done all of the things that we were teaching and that we were talking about. Additionally, students really like to learn from someone that's really actually doing it, not someone that used to do it and is just charging a whole bunch of money for coaching and mentoring. You want to be coached and mentored by someone that's actually doing it, knows what they're doing, and is keeping their training up to date with what's going on in today's market. You don't want someone that's teaching you stuff that's old and outdated and stuff that they no longer do or that no one's no longer doing. Learn from a teacher that really does what they say that they are teaching you, and that is how you can get to success really quickly. Okay, back to this episode. I'm telling you, 𝗡𝗎𝗃a, here's the fun part, because I'm so happy you told that story. I am so happy you told that story, seriously. That is one of the reasons why I did start making the YouTube channel and teaching, because I realized people really weren't telling anything and they really weren't people that had worked and done the things that we had done. Like fixing and flipping is really a whole business. Like if you really want to flip multiple houses per year, you have to have a system. And he was never even talking about any of the things that you would need to talk about, especially at that level. So I just was like, man, the world needs me and you. They need us to tell our real story, which is one of the reasons why I'm so happy that you're here telling the truth. Like, okay, I flipped houses before, and it is not, just going to meetings. That's not gonna do it. And going to network, that's not gonna get you any profits. All that networking.
So for me, after going through that event, and I was doing my own thing, and I was doing creative financing for my properties, which was subject twos, which those were great. That is, and I know Noelle teaches this, that is a great way to fix and flip properties. That way you're not having to actually take out any loans in your own name, or, have a mortgage. You still make mortgage payments depending on how you negotiate it. There are, some tricks in there. You got to make sure that everything is kind of spelled out and in your favor when you're taking on those type of properties, because, sometimes the people are really behind and facing foreclosures. And in those situations, you have to really be mindful of the terms and conditions and making sure that you stay on a schedule and making those payments, or even getting those payments caught up. But I was doing fix and flips. And like I said, I think the last time that I did a fix and flip, I had maybe 5 projects going on at one time, and managing, because I was being the general contractor, I was the agent, I was the designer. I wore so many different hats. And so for me, I just kind of got to a place where I was burnt out. Like I'm done. And I don't have a personality where I have a gray area. It's either black or white with me. So it's either I'm all in or I'm all out. So I decided that once I was done with all of that, I was all out. Like I was done with fixing and flipping. I had done wholesaling. I've done a number of things in real estate. Probably if there was something to be done in real estate, I have done it. Like literally, I've done it. And I was tired of that life, of chasing, properties, chasing owners, putting out signs in yards and calling, and they telling you one thing, and then you get there and then it's something else. It was just something that for me, after doing it for so long, I was just like, I was tired of doing that and I wanted something different. So what I decided to do, and what brought me here to Costa Rica, was actually, I wanted to start investing internationally. So I just kind of shifted my business model into doing real estate internationally. So I am actually here in Costa Rica. I actually went earlier this week and I looked at some properties, and I actually have an appointment to look at some properties this evening and this weekend as well, from land to actual existing properties. And I actually traveled to different regions here in Costa Rica. Really, I'm trying to figure out the business model here, because there's different regions offer different things. Some are more touristy, some are more, rural. You just have to, for me, I need to learn. This is like learning your market. And I'm here and I'm learning the market here. And it is very different than it is in the States. They don't have comps here. So it's like a house is literally worth whatever somebody's willing to pay for it. And, you have to know that and understand it, and, developing relationships with contractors and attorneys and accountants, and developing banking relationships in another country is, it's different. And you have to really kind of take your time and, learn the country, learn the language. I'm still trying to learn Spanish, and, and not that they don't speak English here, but, of course they do, but it's even better when you can speak their native language. And it's a process. I've been here since December of last year, I've been here like 5 months. And it has been a learning process for me, but it's been so beautiful and so rewarding and so peaceful. I told Noelle the other day when we were conversing that I love it here. Like, I've never been somewhere, and I've traveled the world. I've been to many places, many countries, all over Asia, just a lot. I've been all different places and met a lot of different people. But I can truly say the level of peace that's here surpasses anything that I've ever experienced. And I love it here.
I love it. I loved when we talked, and I knew you are, and you could let's tell a little bit more. So you flipped those 6 houses, and you told me while it was going on, you were like, I've had enough of it. I'm just getting burnt out from it. You were telling me that. And then it was just amazing when you actually did it, but you didn't go to Costa Rica first. Where did you go? Tell us about your journey. Cause I feel like you're on this eat, pray, love thing where you're like, all right, I got my money. I cashed out, had a, nice little stack. So talk about, okay, I finished out those houses. Just take us back 1 second. You finished out those houses. How much money did you make? And then where did you go first? Because you didn't go to Costa Rica first. I know that.
This is true. I did not go to Costa Rica first. So let me go back. So after I cashed out on my last fix and flip, and actually on my last fix and flip, believe it or not, we broke even.
Okay.
There was no profit because we held that property for so long.
Yeah,
and that happens.
It does.
It happens.
Absolutely,
it was the first time that I had ever experienced that.
Yeah.
And that I will not say that was the reason why I left fixing and flipping.
No, because you were done before.
I was already burnt out.
Yeah, you were done before.
No. But what I did when I cashed out of my properties, and I actually still have some properties that, that are being held because there are tenants in there, and we're, if you have that, you have to kind of wait that out. And then you have the whole COVID situation going on and people taking advantage of that. So it's a whole process. But what I did, I began to travel, as Noelle stated, and I went to Asia, and I actually went to Bali. And my initial move was going to be to Bali. I was going to move to Bali. That's what, I went there and I fell in love with Bali. And I was like, even before I actually went there, going there just made it that much better. Like, that was like the crescendo. It's like, yes, this is such a beautiful place. And it was so peaceful. And I mean, it was bliss there. And I had really planned to move there. Well, going back in 2019, at the end of 2019, I had a near-death experience where I got deathly ill. I ended up with sepsis, which is a blood infection. And I ended up in the hospital for 6 days. And within that time period, my body kind of shut down. Like, if anyone knows anything about sepsis and how it affects your body, it's a blood infection, and it literally affects your entire body, all your vital organs and everything. So this was I went into the hospital October 30th of 2019. And when I got out of the hospital, I was walking with a walker. Like, I had to learn how to walk all over, regain my strength and just everything. Like, I had never experienced anything like that in my life, but I had already left real estate. But that experience caused me to appreciate life more. And Steve Jobs, in his book, he wrote that one of his regrets was not taking the time to enjoy life and spend time with his family. I had spent plenty of time with my family and, enjoyed life. But one thing for me, what I had done, I had put everyone and everything before me. So this journey here to Costa Rica it's a journey to expand my business internationally, but it was also a journey for me to discover me. So it's the first time in my life that I actually put me first. As a mother of 3, I raised my children, I homeschooled, I was a wife, I did everything for everyone. And I was always on the back burner. I'm, making sure everyone is taken care of, everything is done, running businesses, doing everything, taking the time for me. Like, and not that I didn't go to the spa and get my nails done. People relate that to self-care. No, self-care is when you really truly put you first and care for you first. And, as a mother, you can't really always do that when you have young children or when you have a husband sometimes, but I'm at a place in my life where I don't have that anymore. My kids are grown. I don't have a husband anymore. It's just me. So I can put me first for the first time ever. And I am so happy and elated that I am in this place and in this position. And I always say, you know, I have the freedom, the finances, and the flexibility to live life the way I want to on my terms.
Ooh, I love it.
And
the
that
freedom,
came
the
from
finances,
real
and the
estate, from
flexibility.
doing fixes and flips. I made a lot of money in real estate, a lot of money in real estate. And one thing I realized is it's not about how much money you make, but how much money you keep and you get to enjoy. And if you're not keeping your money and enjoying it, what are you doing it for?
So that was an amazing interview, but that was just part one. So if you're watching this, please watch part two of this interview with Tanika Williams. She has shared an amazing story of how she and I were real estate entrepreneurs, and now she is retired in her early 40s from her real estate investments. This is something that you can do too, and it does start with where you are. Like she said, she's done wholesaling, she's done fixing and flipping, and she has lots of rental properties, and she still owns real estate to this day. Make sure if you want to learn how to get into real estate, you check out my book, Real Estate Millionaire Secrets. You can get this book absolutely free at noellsfreebook.com. That's Noelle, Noelle with an S, noellsfreebook.com. I want to make sure that you have all of the resources, all of the tools, and all of the knowledge that you need to be successful like Tanika and Noelle. This is Noelle, to your success.